You and your friends are coming to the latest information, the most notable current events on the YouTube channel of Nghe An Newspaper, the digital infrastructure of Nghe An Newspaper and radio and television. To know what the program is about today, please follow along below.
On 21st, the U.S. State Department spoke out after it was reported that an Israeli airstrike on the same day in Lebanon killed 5 people, including 4 U.S. citizens. The U.S. State Department said the victims were not U.S. citizens, in response to an earlier statement by the Speaker of the Lebanese Parliament. A U.S. State Department spokesman said that although the situation is still unclear, so far there are indications that the 5 people killed were not U.S. citizens. In fact, one person had an unused immigration visa application. The IDF previously said it had killed a Hezbollah member in the town of Binjbin in southern Lebanon, but admitted that several unrelated civilians were also killed in the attack. The IDF statement said it regretted any harm to unrelated people and always sought to minimize the damage as much as possible. The incident is under review. Lebanon's state news agency NNA said an Israeli UAV fired 2 missiles at a motorcycle believed to be a member of the Hezbollah movement on the streets of Binjbin. However, the missile also hit a Mercedes carrying an American family, killing a total of 5 people in the incident. Lebanon's Parliament Speaker Nabi Perry said 4 U.S. citizens were among the victims. Lebanon's Foreign Minister Joseph Ar was also seriously injured in the Israeli raid, according to the statement. Lebanon's Prime Minister Nas Salam called the attack an act of civilian surveillance, saying it was a threatening message to Lebanese people returning home to the south. He called on the international community to condemn Israel in the strongest terms for its repeated violations of UN resolutions and international law. Lebanon's President Joseph Aoun accused Israel of violating the ceasefire agreement. The UN Foundation Jones Unekvin DB expressed shock and outrage at the incident. Israel has continued to strike targets in Lebanon despite a US-brokered ceasefire agreement on the Hezbollah militant group in November 2024. The Lebanese army said Israel had violated the ceasefire 4,500 times. It warned that these actions risk slowing down the process of disarming Hezbollah. The Lebanese government is seeking to disarm Hezbollah under pressure from the US and concerns about Israeli raids. In an interview with journalist Pavan Jarabin on May 21, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that Russian President Vladimir Putin remains interested in resolving the situation in Ukraine through negotiations and hopes to continue cooperation with the United States. Mr. Peskov said that Russian President Vladimir Putin, as well as U.S. leader Donald Trump, remain interested and ready to bring the entire Ukraine crisis to a peaceful conclusion. The Kremlin spokesman said that Moscow will continue to work to find opportunities for diplomatic activities. He stressed, "I believe in the efforts of the United States and President Trump personally in this matter. We will wait and see what the results will be." Mr. Peskov said that President Putin values a constructive relationship with President Trump. He stressed that both leaders want to work towards a peaceful solution to the Ukraine conflict. According to Mr. Peskov, President Putin appreciates the two leaders being able to openly discuss the most urgent and sensitive issues. The Kremlin spokesman also mentioned President Trump's recent visit to Britain, one of Ukraine's strongest supporters. Mr. Peskov said Britain is one of the leading countries supporting the conflict. President Trump has probably heard a lot about plans to continue to put pressure on Russia, including the use of sanctions. Earlier, the Kremlin spokesman said that communication channels between the Russian and Ukrainian negotiating teams to end the conflict are currently suspended. Mr. Peskov stressed that public opinion should not look at everything through rose-colored glasses because the peace process is a complex issue that is unlikely to bring immediate results. During a recent visit to the Motovilic factory, a nearly 300-year-old artillery production facility, President Vladimir Putin affirmed that Russia has expanded its defense production scale like never before. The Russian leader emphasized that with some types of weapons, the output has not only increased by a few percent but has increased by 2, 3, 15 times, even 30 times, and the quality has also improved. Modern technology meets the demand. Motovilic is a factory famous for its closed artillery production line, which has played a pivotal role in the history of the Russian defense industry. At the same time, the Anmas anti-group said that by 2025 it would more than double the output of the S-350 VAS and S-400 Kayam air defense systems. and master the production lines of new types of missiles. Some lines even increased 4 times compared to before. Meanwhile, Mr. Vadim Skibsky, deputy head of the Ukrainian Military Intelligence Directorate GUR, said that Moscow has planned to mass-produce in 2025. According to Mr. Skibsky, Russia aims to manufacture 57 modern fighter jets including Su-57, Su-35, Su-34 and Su-30. In addition, about 250 new T-90M tanks, 1,100 armored personnel carriers and 365 new demolition systems are also in the plan. At the same time, Russia is still recycling large-scale old Soviet-era equipment such as tanks, demolition vehicles, and infantry fighting vehicles that are kept in reserve. Ukina estimates that Russia has consumed 50 to 75% of these reserves but still maintains a large enough new production capacity to respond. Mr. Skibsky said that Russia is focusing on weapons that have proven effective in real combat. In 2025, the Russian military plans to produce nearly 2,500 high-precision missiles including TL Iskander, Kinnan hypersonic missiles and other cruise missiles. In particular, the sharp increase in the production of unmanned aircraft such as Garand, HPI and FPV has become a top priority. In the armored sector, Russia has reduced its fleet to 3 main types of tanks such as T-90, T-14 Amat and T-80. Artillery focuses on new or deeply modernized systems such as Koalitia. SV, MTA, Monva, Gasan and Magnolia. According to the assessment of the Ukrainian provincial newspaper, despite the tightening of Western sanctions, Russia still seeks to maintain the supply chain and avoid bottlenecks in defense production. Many factories reduced capacity after the collapse of the Soviet Union but never closed, helping Russia retain its industrial base and leading position in arms exports. Mr. Skibsky warned that Russia is adjusting its weapons development priorities based on lessons learned from Ukraine. The new generation of missiles will have a longer range, be more accurate and carry a larger warhead. On January 21, Prime Minister S. Petfiala announced that the country would establish a working group on drone operations within the National Security Council to respond promptly to potential threats in the region. Speaking at the NATO Day event in Osava, Prime Minister Fiala stressed that the main purpose of the SC in establishing the working group on drone operations is to build a close coordination mechanism to respond promptly to potential attacks from UAVs, while protecting national security and supporting allies in the region. The group will not only focus on passive defense but also ensure the safety of the population by integrating with new technological advances. According to Prime Minister Fiala, this is part of a broader strategy to strengthen SH's position in NATO. Especially when the threats from UAVs are spreading to neighboring countries, the group will include Japanese experts and analysts from many state agencies such as the Ministry of Defense, the Ministry of Interior, the Ministry of Transport, the Army, the Police SC and other relevant units. The main task of the group is to monitor the development of global UAV technology, on that basis, design and deploy appropriate counter-UAV measures. The group will also coordinate with UAV procurement packages to integrate into the multi-layered air defense system, ensuring that the SEX is capable of responding quickly to any threat. Prime Minister Fiala's announcement on the establishment of the anti-UAV group was made in the context of the increasingly complicated security situation in the region, especially after many UAVs violated Polish airspace on September 9 to 10. According to analysts, the establishment of this group not only helps SE improve its defense capabilities but also affirms SE's positive role in ensuring Europe's common security.
2.053/5.000. On January 21, in his annual message on the International Day of Peace, United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres called on the international community to stop the guns, end suffering, and build bridges for stability and prosperity. Mr. Guterres stressed that peace cannot wait when the world is engulfed in conflict and yearns for peace. According to the Secretary-General, this year's International Day of Peace is a reminder for everyone to raise their voices in support of peace. Around the world, conflicts are destroying lives, robbing children of their childhoods and denying basic human dignity. The Secretary-General said that the world is witnessing an explosion of conflicts as millions of people are forced to leave their homes and the situation is getting more serious. He stressed that what people want is peace, and peace is a common responsibility of all of us. The UN chief pointed out that sustainable development contributes to peace, but 9 out of 10 countries currently working hard to develop are affected by conflict. He called on the international community to work to end racism, inhumane acts, and misinformation that fuel the flames of conflict. Instead, he promoted the language of respect and openness to others. The UN chief stressed that where there is peace, there is hope. Families are reunited, communities are rebuilt, women are educated and have fun. The International Day of Peace was initiated by the UN General Assembly in 1981 under Resolution 3667. At that time, this day was set on the Tuesday of the opening week of the regular session of the General Assembly with the aim of creating a moment of silence for countries to look at peace together, calling for ceasefires and dialogue instead of confrontation. In 2001, the United Nations General Assembly passed Resolution 55/282, which declared September 21 as the International Day of Peace, an occasion for nonviolence and a call for a ceasefire. The theme of this year's day is, Act Now for a Peaceful World.